Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. In this episode, I'm going to go over the Conquest monthly updates from December 2025. That was a month full of incredible updates, upgrades, and enhancements, and I'm excited to show you the top 3 that I think you should be aware of. I'm going to do that using my sample client scenario that you can see here, John and Jane sample. Before I get into it, just a reminder, upper left corner, we can go into the hamburger icon, navigate to support and resources, then to knowledge base, and view what's new for December 2025. Here are the table of contents. Like I said, this was a month full of incredible updates. I'm going to focus on the main ones that I believe you should be aware of, primarily around estate distribution and legacy enhancements. Let's take a look at what's new. So to begin with, the estate tab, we now have an estate distribution card embedded within that tab. And this is what you need to be aware of. We now have deeper insight into planning for our client's estate, understanding the tax implications, understanding any liquidity constraints, and just having a deeper overall understanding for estate planning purposes. Let's head over to Conquest and we'll take a deeper look at this. Back to my client scenario, I'm going to navigate to the estate planning tab here, and this is the new card, estate distribution. What I like about this first tab here is the beneficiary designations. For the client and co-client, we now have a nice bird's eye view of all of their registered accounts, and we can clearly see who is the primary beneficiary and the contingent beneficiary for each. Now, as a reminder, for Conquest, the default is in joint plans to have the surviving spouse as the primary beneficiary and the estate as the contingent. But as you can see here, I can quickly view what's what, and I can make the adjustment as I see necessary for my planning purposes. Okay, so as opposed to navigating back to the accounts card and going into each account, navigating to beneficiary designations and viewing this, I can simply come here and see it all in one place. This is going to improve our overall workflow and ease of viewing our data. The next section you need to be aware of is with regards to bequests. Now, a bequest is simply a gift made to someone else in someone's will. We can gift actual items. It could be cash, it could be an account, it could be a lifestyle asset. We can do that all through here. So this sets us up for doing some pretty advanced estate planning capabilities for our clients. Let's take a closer look at this. When I add a bequest, I have some options here. It's a joint plan, so if John dies first, he can do a cash bequest to an individual or a charity on his request. Same thing for Jane. We can do, if she dies first, we can do a cash bequest. And then the third option here is at last death. On second to die, we can bequest either an asset, which can include the primary residence, rental property, or an other asset. We can bequest an account. This is limited to non-registered accounts or return of capital or bank accounts, okay? Now, thinking in terms of the planning opportunities for clients who have non-registered accounts, could be marketable securities with significant capital gains. We can model a charitable bequest and including all of the tax benefits of doing that. Having basically the capital gains be zero taxes because we're making that bequest to a charity. So now we can model that using our Conquest software, which is incredible. Then finally, we can do a cash bequest. So think about the opportunities from a planning perspective. So those folks who have clients who are already retired, I really see this being a really great planning opportunity that we can now model and illustrate using the software. And then finally up here, you'll see residual. So the residual would be after the primary beneficiary or primary allocation. So in this example for John and Jane, remember the default is to have the surviving spouse as the primary allocation. Now we can allocate the residual to a contingent allocation. You'll notice it defaults to 50-50 for Jimmy and Johnny. I set this profile up to be Jimmy and Johnny as their 2 sons. So you can see there's some really neat opportunities here to really dial this in from an estate planning standpoint. Also down here you can see the charity that I can set a percentage allocation to the charity for each of them as well. Okay, so I think this tab here for estate planning really opens up a lot of opportunities. Don't forget, there's the information where you can establish if the client has a will or an enduring power of attorney. The beneficiary designation section, this is where we can add beneficiaries outside of immediate family members. So in this example, I made it other individual being John's sister and Jane's brother. And then down here, we can add a charity just by simply including that little plus beneficiary. Always a best practice to put a named charity. Could be the Heart and Stroke Foundation or Cancer Society, whatever your client's wishes are, give it a name, be as specific as you can for your illustration for your clients. So I really think that's some really great opportunities from charitable, legacy, and estate planning opportunities using the software. Okay, now the next section I'm going to move to is testamentary trust as it relates to spousal trust. Now, depending on your firm's configuration, you may or may not have access to testamentary trusts. One of my Conquest versions through Canada Life, I don't have access to testamentary trust, so I don't know if you noticed this, but I am using the IA version of Conquest, which does have that feature. And so when I go in here, I can hit plus add spousal trust, funded by John. Okay, now notice I get this pop-up. This pop-up sort of signifies that it's going to be a plan upgrade. I'm not going to do the demo and upgrade this plan because there could be additional costs associated with that, and I don't want anyone to get angry at me. So I'm going to hit cancel for now, so I can't quite model this exactly, but I think you get the idea. So yeah, depending on who dies first, we can illustrate a spousal trust for the survivor. Now remember, when we put things in the current client overview section, this would be assuming they already have the spousal trust. If you want to model this as a recommendation, we want to navigate back to the planning tab, and we want to be in a retirement goal and navigate down to more. And here's where we could use a build a strategy, and we could give it a title, spousal trust as an example. And I go down here, we have to put items down there. We have to include who it is and the date that we're going to achieve this. So just for the sake of time, just going to add those and then change data. We can add the trust funded by John, and we can create a spousal trust. Again, I'm not going to upgrade the plan and incur additional cost, but depending on your firm's configuration, like I said, you may or may not have access to this. But I think from a planning perspective, we can model the benefits of looking at exploring from a planning perspective the benefits of a spousal trust. So this is some great stuff, advanced estate planning capabilities, and I'm sure Conquest has more to come with regards to these features around estate planning. Now, the third and final area that I'm excited to talk to you about is with regards to RCAs, retirement compensation arrangements. This is some advanced planning capabilities now. So if I navigate back to the client section and go down to the accounts card, I can add an account. I'll add it for John here, choose other accounts, and there's the RCA. Okay, so when I add in the RCA, retirement compensation arrangement, I can go into the pencil. I can stipulate what the RCA market value is. The RTA balance is in reference to the refundable tax account portion, and then the owner in a portfolio. And we can include a savings. So those folks who are doing advanced planning for those high net worth clients, which includes high income earners, earning over $250,000 a year, those owner managers of CCPCs, and then those senior executives. This is going to be fantastic. So we can connect the RCA to an employer, or if the client has a CCPC and you're including the corporation over here, we can link it to the corporation. So think about those opportunities. Really great. As a reminder in the accounts card, I don't know if anyone noticed this, but we did have access to IPPs. Where did it go? There it is. Individual pension plan. So don't forget, we have that advanced planning capability as well. This was introduced last year in June. So there's quite a few more things if you go through the table of contents, but I've just covered the three main things you need to know about from this month's update, which include, as a reminder, to summarize, bequests, spousal trusts, and RCAs. So those are my top 3 things that you need to be aware of. And if you need more details, view the knowledge base and you can go through the whole table of contents. I don't know if anyone goes in here, but there is a video that Conquest put together. It is an hour long, so you can get additional details on some of the reports and enhancements there. I've covered the top 3 that you need to be aware of. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, put a comment down below, like this video, and if you are feeling stuck, if planning feels heavy, reach out to me. I'd love to help you out. You can find me on LinkedIn. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. Happy planning.